Now to this, the IRS permanently barred from is, but I should say, permanently barred from pursuing any claims against President Trump, his family, or businesses based on past tax returns. What I just laid out was an addendum to Trump's settlement with the agency. As we told you yesterday, the Justice Department is also creating a nearly $1.8 billion fund for people who claim they were unfairly targeted by the Justice Department during the Biden administration. The move has drawn widespread criticism from Democrats who worry some Capitol rioters could file for relief. Vice President J.D. Vance was asked about this yesterday.
We do have people who were accused of attacking law enforcement officers. That doesn't mean that we're going to completely ignore some of the claims that they're going to make. We're going to evaluate these things on a case-by-case basis.
Joey Garrison joins us now from Washington. He's a White House correspondent for USA Today. Good morning, Joey. Glad to have you with us. Let me get your reaction first to this addition to Mr. Trump's IRS settlement. The agency barred from looking into the tax returns of he and his relatives going backwards. What do we make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a remarkable addition to this settlement that wasn't originally announced. It was added in a one-page addendum, as you mentioned, and it essentially gives President Trump, his family, his sons immunity from future IRS audits, investigations, inquiries. Of course, the Trump family has had years of scrutiny from the IRS, so to get this kind of blanket immunity is quite extraordinary. Now, there are questions from tax experts whether this kind of agreement is even legal. And then you have to wonder, in a future Democratic administration, will this sort of agreement be upheld? But again, it is in addition to this, quote, anti-weaponization fund that is going to be comprised of $1.8 billion that will distribute money to people who believe they were done wrong, essentially, by past Democratic presidents from the DOJ of those administrations. So Democrats, of course, are incensed by both of these agreements that are part of the IRS settlement between the DOJ and Trump. And, you've seen, as you saw the clip of J.D. Vance there, he has defended it, as well as Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, and then the president.
Right. And the real fear and concern is that this could lead to corruption. Todd Blanche, you just mentioned, was Mr. Trump's private attorney and helped defend him during many of his criminal trials. He's now the acting attorney general, and he was grilled yesterday on Capitol Hill, specifically on the point of this anti-weaponization fund. Let's just listen to some of that.
Has it ever happened that a sitting president sued his own government for $10 billion and then directed the settlement of the case and the establishment of a payout fund?
Not that I'm aware, but there's a lot of things that President Trump's the first of. No president had been indicted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Correct.
6, 7, 8 times either.
Correct. No president's been indicted. And will you commit that none of this money will go to President Trump's campaign donors?
I am not committing to anything beyond the settlement agreement itself.
Joey, did you learn anything new? Did we all learn anything new about how this compensation fund will really function?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's going to be a 5-person committee that decides how this money is doled out. But those 5 members are all appointed by Todd Blanche. So you saw Democrats making the point that essentially this is a Trump administration panel that will decide this money. And you saw them ask Blanche, and later Vance was asked, can you rule out January 6th defendants who were convicted of assaulting police officers? Can you rule them out for receiving money? And none of them did. I mean, I think it's based on remarks that you heard from the president. I think it's fair to assume that January 6th defendants will very much be in line to receive this money. Of course, they were pardoned by President Trump on his first day of office. And then others who were pardoned by the president, wealthy, well-connected people who were pardoned of fraud and other white-collar offenses. I think they could be in line, arguing that they were weaponized by the DOJ. And so, I think we learned really the scope yesterday, the scope of this fund, and it's kind of exactly how it was presented in the settlement agreement.
Yeah, an interesting topic our viewers should pay attention to. Joey Garrison, great to have you with us this Wednesday.
Hey, thanks so much.